are you? I just texted mom. We're having dinner tomorrow.
You know, other than that, money. No.
Already?
Unless you have
Rise.
yeah, but it doesn't. But it's
Run.
It's just.
Yeah.
Justin's over.
In the whole district. I mean,
Yeah.
oh, President, every year. And between now, they have added a couple of people. Community events,
So.
Yes, sir. He said, you know, the dog. That'll be, have some light part for me. What we got? Yeah. He said, I called the Norwood. And he said, yeah, he said, he's a big size. But I said, very good. Looking out for us.
The electric one's safe.
You're right. Oh, yeah, right now we have.
Compared to last week. Yeah. Thanks, Chair.
No, I saw.
Let's wake it up. Meeting to order. If you want to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is being recorded and live streamed to the Limerick Township YouTube page, youtube.com/Limerick Township 1726. We did have executive session prior to on personnel matters. We'd like you to receive important information and alerts. You can get them onto your smart device as well. If you go onto our website and click notify me, you'll go and follow instructions from there. And every time an agenda is uploaded onto for planning and for our board meetings, you will immediately get a text with a link to the actual agenda and the documents. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube page. We do have an upcoming office closure. In observation of Labor Day, the township offices and Public Works Department will be closed Monday, September 7th. We do have an upcoming schedule changes or schedule. So our upcoming data center public hearing meetings and times. September 8th at 6:30 here at the Township Building is the continuation of MCD 7 LLC. And that is the conditional use 2504. September 22nd at 6:30 p.m. here at the Limerick Township Building, we will be starting the conditional use for Limerick Town Center. Some of you may know that as the Public property or as the Kinsey location. So that does start on the 22nd. We also have an additional Board of Supervisor meeting on September 29th at 7 p.m. So block every Tuesday in September and join your supervisors here in the Township Building. And then our Park and Rec, I do want to point out our Protect Play Family Safety Night is going to be September 24th at from 6 to 8:30. And it's presented. All right, am I good? By Mission Kids. And that will be here. And you can register online for that. And then moving on to our minutes. Do we have a consideration of our meeting minutes for July 28th, 2026 Board of Supervisor meeting?
So I have two changes to my discussion of the objectives of 2027. Unfortunately, I was not able to get that sent to the township before this meeting. So it's only an additional a couple words, and I wasn't sure how you wanted to handle that.
I'm gonna leave that to Dan or Rebecca for it.
Why don't you state what your required changes are, and then the board can make a, anybody pass a motion yet?
No.
And the motion would be based on your changes if the board is in agreement.
So this is bullet 4 under Dr. Walraven's comments about the objectives for 2027 budget. What I meant to say, or maybe mumbled through it, was a full review of the 2018 investment strategy objectives to how the township used the capital reserve for sewer funds since the sale of the sewer. So just adding a few words there. And then bullet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down. Here again, if I mumbled, I apologize, but I meant to say assess, do a cost benefit analysis or financial assessment on solar for the township buildings, not necessarily adding the solar. So I'm sorry, that was a comment. I could restate that. Cost benefit analysis or financial assessment of solar power on township buildings. Period.
While we're at, while we're at it, my notation is about the new playground, and if you're listed as wish item,
You say that again?
That I asked them on my wish list. It didn't say I have them. I just mentioned these are things I like to look at.
Right.
I just want to throw them in that I'm not saying I want these things. I want on my wish list.
So the heading under this section is, says Mr. Kerr summarized the goals of the discussion and what the board desires for 2027 and beyond. And then there's all listing. So you want it further amended to that, Mr. Murray, or are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I just want to note for this.
You're okay with how it reads at the top?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of July 28th, 2026 Board of Supervisor meeting as edited by Dr. Walraven? As amended by Dr. Walraven.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Any additional board comment? Any public comment? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
And then a motion to approve the minutes of August 4th, 2026 Board of Supervisor meeting. I do have a correction for those minutes. Cal was here and not Ted.
Oh, that's a good.
So, yeah, I know. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Any additional board comment? Any public comment? Seeing none, all those in favor?
aye.
Aye. Okay. Do we have any supervisor comments? And I'm just going to make a note that public comments on agenda items will take place at each agenda item as we discussed tonight. We have the bills list, number 16, August 1st through August 14th for $412,000, $412,180.27. Do I have a motion to approve the bills list?
Motion approved.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comment? I have one, but Glenn is not here. So am I able to come back to that?
What's your question?
It is about the LSA grants.
Yes.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure that we have all the documentation
Yes.
for that.
Oh, yeah, no, that was for the Freedom Valley
Mhm,
ambulance.
yes.
Yeah, we had the intermunicipal or the township agreement between Limerick and Freedom Valley on specific use of the LSA money we received for them was all approved by the LSA agency, and they were good with all the documentations, the purchase orders and everything. They vetted all that, and we would not have gotten the money unless they cleared from the state agency, so we're all good.
We're good. Okay,
Yes, we're all good.
perfect. I just wanted to make sure I didn't have anything going on there for my responsibilities. Okay. Any other board comment? Public comment? Seeing none, all those in favor?
aye.
Aye. We have our monthly reports for July. A motion to accept the monthly reports for July 2026.
Aye.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any board comment?
I've got two questions, but here again, I don't know if I need to hold these off for one or not. Do you want me to?
Let's give it a try.
All right, so looking at, goodness gracious. You know what? I may have messed up this maybe. So, no, it's okay. All right, so I'm looking at page. I didn't write the pages down. For the Exelon payment revenue of $88,000.
Yep.
Is that all we're anticipating as 2026 revenue? Is the $88,507?
So we have two sources of revenue from the nuclear power plant. One is the annual real estate taxes that they submit. The second one is revenue based on a pre-negotiated agreement with the school district, the county, and the township. So it's a supplemental pilot payment in lieu of taxes type of arrangement. That exact amount is specific to the agreement, and that's our annual contribution for that.
But the supplement.
That's the supplement above the real estate taxes.
Great. And then the second question is miscellaneous revenue. There on page 54. So what's curious to me is it appears that we have received here to date more revenue, but the unearned revenue is in the negative. And is that an error or is that? So the miscellaneous revenues for 2026 as of July 31st is 108% of what was budgeted.
We're 8% over our anticipated unearned revenue. Basically, that's what you're looking at.
Okay.
It's all that accounting stuff that confuses me, where they have parentheses around negative or positives and all that. So, but yeah, no, we're at 108%, so we're 8% above.
Okay, thank you.
That's why we have a treasurer.
Exactly. Then I believe going down to Parks and Rec, it appears with 58% of the budget year complete, our Park and Rec administration costs have come in at 48%, and the activities is at 58%, which is exactly on target. But I was just here again, the administration was lower by about 10 percentage points and wanted that to be accurate.
Yeah, it is accurate. I will allow Glenn to offer a further explanation. I will remind the board that sometime in September, we historically do a budget update right before the start of budget talks to reset, and I'll make sure that he provides a further explanation at that point. Okay?
Excellent, thank you. So that's all my questions. I think this question goes to the prior report.
Do we have any additional board questions or comments? Do we have any public comment? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to subdivision and land development. This is for Emerald Crossing. By way of reference, we are following up on the resolution for subdivision of the meeting on August 4th. And I'm not here. Oh, there you are. Yeah. I was looking for the lady attorney. I'm sorry. So welcome up.
How are you?
Good. I was worried you guys weren't here because I have a couple of questions. I was like, what am I going to do? Okay. Welcome.
Sure. My name is Sam Carlo. I'm with Pulte Homes. And my name is Cameron Wolfson with Riley Riper Holland and College attorneys for the applicant. So we're here for approval of the resolutions, the two resolutions. I guess the first one is for the phase one, Emerald Crossing phase one. We had a chance to review the resolutions, and we are going to comply with all the requirements that are. So I think there were a couple questions that had come out of it. One being the 20 by 20 bus stop easement, that we could show that on the record plan.
I think that's for the other one.
Phase, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
In any event, we can show it on both. And then the extension of the sidewalk to lot 3. Right.
I have questions about that's the other one though.
Okay.
That's the other resolution. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm your. Yeah. So
Because the first resolution is the subdividing.
yes,
So that one lot's going to be split in two.
three. Into three. I have a. Does anyone have any questions for? No? All right, do I have a motion to approve the preliminary final resolution for the Emerald Crossing SLD project number 23-10A?
So moved. That you asked for a motion? So moved.
Yep. I have a first. Do I have a second?
I have a question. The first one that we're doing now is on this, dividing it up.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
The second one was the one we had this long
Yes.
discussion. Thank you. So I'm okay with dividing, so. Second.
Second. Okay, so I have a first and a second. Do I have any board comment? Do I have any public comment? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. Okay. Moving on then. This is for Emerald Crossing SLD 23-10, the final resolution. And take it away.
Same thing, we received the draft resolution.
Mhm.
We reviewed it, we're in agreement with all the comments and what's been written up in it, so if you have any questions on it, we'll do our best to answer your questions.
Anyone have any questions for them? I do. Okay. So when I'm going through your engineer's list of waivers, you have the 155, it's on the first page, 151-15-D, and it's calling for a partial deferral. Do we have a map? Can you show me on the map exactly where you're deferring and where you're gonna put that in if the town, or when the township says it's time to go?
Sure, I'll do my best here. The sidewalk we're putting in it.
Thank you.
The sidewalk deferral would be along this frontage here and here. Oh, I'm sorry, my fault. This is the sidewalk we're putting in.
Mhm.
So, we have the pedestrian walking trail that's gonna go in here. That'll tie into this sidewalk. And all of the units around here will have the sidewalk and will come down the ridge. The deferrals for this up here. And these areas.
And I got a question. So you're saying you're gonna put sidewalk in now?
Well, we always said we were gonna put sidewalk on one side of the road.
No, my question, you were pointing to the top where I had an objection that you weren't. So that's why I'm questioning.
Go ahead, yeah, please.
Yeah. So the reason for the partial vote waiver, as Mr. Paulo,
Can you get a little?
Yeah. As Mr. Paulo had mentioned, there are proposing sidewalk on one side of the project. Coming in from here, this is a trail, but then passing the trail, there's going to be sidewalk on the side right here. The partial waiver is on the opposite side. The first side, no waiver.
All right, so I'm confused.
The
So when
first-
you're saying you're deferring, that means you're gonna do it.
So I'll explain to you.
Okay.
So at the last meeting, the board supervisors, we had expressed concerns in the waiver sidewalk. The applicant is the first side, which means if the resolution goes through tonight, the record plan has to show the sidewalk design. And then the applicant will be forced to install a sidewalk within the year of notification by the township. So let's say next year, the board says, hey, let's put the sidewalk, they have a year to install the sidewalk. So it's a deferral, it is not a waiver. Okay. I
And,
hope this answers the question.
and that also includes those ones that you had pointed out, off to the gazebo at the bottom.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so my question would be is, what is the timing or the trigger? That's at the township's discretion?
So the project, let's say, goes through tonight. It's recorded, and they're ready to go. They build the project. The board, after the project is done, feels that there's a sidewalk on the other side has to be installed. We've heard that unsafe conditions, whatever the case may be. Notify the HOA, say, per the approved plan, per the land development agreement, you have 1 year to install the sidewalk. And they will be installed exactly for the plan, and the sidewalk will be shown on the record plan before this plan is recorded.
And then my other question about that was the new addition to this resolution is the waiver from the sidewalk in front of lot 3.
Correct.
And we didn't really talk about it at the last meeting. So if you just want to tell us why we're doing that.
So lot 3 is in front of the parcel that the underlying seller is referring to. That's where that.
Microphone for us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's where the existing apartment building is, and he has that retaining wall on in front of it. So it's difficult to install the sidewalk in conjunction with that retaining wall. So that's why we asked for the waiver.
Okay. And then my other question was answered by the attorney.
Okay.
So I had a question about the numbering on the waivers from your first one to this one, but she explained it to me, so that's all.
So as a follow-up to Connie's question on the sidewalk on lot 3, sidewalk is going to be installed from where on Ridge Pike will there be a sidewalk?
We're going to bring the sidewalk all the way across the front here. We can look at extending the sidewalk back down to the shoulder of Ridge Pike, but it gets difficult in this area because of the existing.
So so is this a sidewalk to nowhere or a sidewalk to a retaining wall?
It's a sidewalk essentially to the driveway of that property.
And across the street is a field from that at the moment, from the lot 3.
Yeah, I think it's on the wall.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any additional board questions at the moment? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the final resolution for Emerald Crossing SLD project 23-10?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any additional board comment? Public comment?
Yeah, my overall comment is I think we have enough townhomes in Limerick, and here's another set. So I'm not real comfortable with the whole concept of additional townhomes so close to. So, it is what it is, right?
Any public comment? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
I'm an aye now because you're putting sidewalk in. Now I'm an aye,
What's in, oh, like yes.
because they made that adjustment. So I appreciate you doing it, gentlemen.
Really hate that comment. That just it's fun. I think I abstained at the last time, so I'll abstain.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night.
Moving along, we have a motion to approve the preliminary final for 506 Swamp Pike. Are they with us this evening? 506 Swamp Pike? Okay. I have a question. You can answer it.
Sure.
Are they sharing a septic tank?
They can't share.
Okay,
Each lot would have to have its own.
all right, and they know that?
Yes.
Okay,
The health department will approve a shared septic system.
Because I'm not seeing one on the plan, and Montgomery County mentioned that there was one septic tank for both lots. So I just wanted to confirm with them that that was a mistake and that there actually is 2 septic tanks.
Generally, before a construction permit is issued, like what you're creating is the additional lot for this property. It'll get recorded when the lot's established. They'll come in for a building permit based on the plan. Code department will not issue a building permit until water and sewer are confirmed. So they have to go to the county health department for both of those since there's no public service.
Correct.
Perfect, so I don't have to worry about anything. So,
And that is 100% on the hands of the
perfect. Okay. All right, do we have a motion to approve the preliminary final resolution for 506 Swamp Pike SLD Project 2607?
So move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any additional board comments? Any public comment? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And we have a confirmed appointment, Mr. Canavan, for residential development at Sunset Road and School Road.
Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to present in front of the board this evening. There is no action item that we were asking for. It is to run a concept by the board. As I believe the board is aware, WB Homes under different entities is the equitable owner of 2 different locations in the township. One was the subject of conditional use hearing for 10 townhomes off of Sunset behind called Goose's Cigar Building for reference point. And the other is approximately 39.5 acres of ground that makes up 3 parcels on School Road. That was for single family homes. It's known as Bellstone. I was in at one point to talk to you about road widths on that property. Since we were in to talk to you about the road widths, we did acquire one more property in that group, so it completes that side of School Road. And the plan that you see on the board shows all the parcels. So we're able to generate more open space, but it did add 3 more single family homes to our development as well. The purpose of my discussion this evening is I am not immune to listening to the feedback from the board. Some may think that. I understand there's a desire maybe to see a different housing mix within the community. There is nothing that's within your ordinances right now that would allow some of what I'm suggesting, but there is a path through the zoning hearing board to do what I'm about to suggest. So bear with me for a moment as I walk through 2 different plans and what I'd like to do, and then we can start asking questions related to this is what let's start with. So the general concept is to transfer some density from the property that is behind Goose's Cigar to the single family homes that are on School Road. And in doing so, I can afford to take the profit out of, if you will, the Goose's Cigar property to put some on the single family homes off of School Road, which would allow us to introduce a different housing type on Goose's Cigar that could be offered to the market at a more attainable price and not be townhomes, but could be something that maybe quads, twins, something of that nature, to try to reflect on some of that. I originally had started this out with, do I just look at the Goose's Cigar property as just open space and try to get the different open? But I don't know if that's an appropriate place for open space versus maybe meeting one of the other community objectives, which would be appropriate housing. So conceptually, the plan you see on the board here is the School Road property. And what I have designed is the existing zoning ordinance allows you to do a cluster if you have a minimum of 40,000 square foot lots. This plan, and I submitted a plan to that effect, this plan would reduce the minimum lot size to 18,000 square foot for the single family homes, would increase the open space on the property from 43% to 62%, and would allow me to move 5 single family lots onto the site. So this would end up being 21 new lots, and then a lot for the existing home on that's currently owned by Mr. Stankus, and then a lot for the existing home down at 109 School Road. So that is a total of 21 new lots. Currently, we have 16 new lots on that site. That's the difference, 16 to 21 on that site. However, as we've reduced the lot size, we have increased actually the overall amount of open space preserved at the same time. We've got a 5 additional acres of open space, even with the 5 additional lots. And we have shown so that this ordinance has been amended over the years for this cluster. When the development across the street that Mr. Sekonic built was built, they didn't require the open space screening along the roadway. The ordinance was since amended. So there's a 75-foot open space buffer that's required along the roadway that would be on either plan. So that will be whichever plan we go with, there's 75 feet of open space along the roadway before you see the first house. That will help transition this to the development behind the site, which does not have nearly as much open space. Their minimum lot size was approximately 15,000 square feet. So we're transitioning from 40,000 square feet to a minimum of 18,000 square feet to something that's smaller behind it, but we're still generating a lot of open space. So that's the concept of where we would transfer to. And just for reference purposes, does this work for the plans? Good. Does this move it or not? Or can you just go to the next plan for me? Just for reference purposes, this is what would be the plan under the conforming ordinance. All the open space would still be down in this area, and then you would just have larger lots. So the ground would be eaten up by private lots rather than by common open space. And to answer a question that was raised during a staff meeting, the 18,000 square foot lots would still allow anybody buying them to have room to put in appropriate decks, patios, a pool, appropriate amenities that go with purchasing a single family home. Doesn't make them so small that they don't have those opportunities behind the houses to do so, and there's plenty of space to do so. And quite frankly, in our world, that is what we see from a single family lot buyer. They are not always looking for the largest lot to purchase. They're looking for an appropriate lot size, then having that open space in common around them is a benefit to everybody. So that would be for what would be the Bellstone property. And then if I could go to the next plan. So it might help just if you can go one more just to reintroduce. So this was the plan that received the conditional use approval. 10 townhomes, 5 on either side, a road through the middle, and it connected to the back end of the parking lot of Goose's project. It was in conformance, it met the ordinance. We'll jump to the previous one then. Just want to establish baselines, that's all. So this plan would show 6 units. They would the fronts of these units would be to Sunset. They would have a sidewalk along Sunset that would connect all the way out to Ridge. It would keep in conformance with what the rest of that block is, which has their frontages onto Sunset rather than sides. And to make the traffic work better, we would actually have a common driveway that would serve both Goose's cigar property, and then we would have a rear-loaded, you can call it an alley, you can call it an access lane, whatever you'd like to call it, where they would have individual parking for each of the units on one side and overflow parking on the far side, and they would access their units from that rear, and there'd be sidewalks to connect it. The units we have shown here are approximately 24 feet wide by 50 feet deep, no garage. Without the garage, that is a footprint that's large enough to accommodate primary suites on the first floor, so that you could have age in place, lifestyle things. There's an opportunity to have appropriately different floor plans than some of the townhomes and some of the other things that we talked about. And there's still plenty of green space to the rear. This is always a unique site. It'll look a lot greener than this, but because you have the gas pipeline in there, we don't count that as the open space, but the gas pipeline's buried, and that's all through that area. It's one large meadow that would be behind the site. We were only able to do this because the ground cost and the approval costs that were originally associated with this, we will absorb those 5 lots that we move over to the Bellstone project. And that would allow us to have a much lower basis, accounting term, Dan's favorite thing, accounting, parentheses and stuff, but a much lower basis in this property so that we could afford to bring these to market at a lower price than we would with what have been our conventional townhomes. I'd see this in the 400,000 range versus what we've seen is all 500 plus in the marketplace. Now, how do you do this? if there's any interest in doing this. I am not looking to push a boulder up the hill, but I am trying to look at a way to say, I've heard different objectives that people are trying to get to. Ordinances haven't been caught up yet, but this is maybe a way for us to do something. We can do this through a application to the zoning hearing board, where we would go to the zoning hearing board and request the requisite reduction in bulk area dimensional standards for the Bellstone site, and deed restrict this to a certain amount of units based on it. This would conform with the existing ordinance. Generally, we would just have to confirm that, but they would have to be tied together some way to protect the township. And all I would be looking for from that is, if this is something that seems like a good idea to the board to at least consider to pursue, that I can work with staff to craft that application and they can consider, and you guys consider it. And then if we were going to the zoning hearing board, I'll at least like a letter of support potentially to the zoning hearing board that the board is not opposed to this as an application. And then it doesn't set a precedent. It creates two unique sites. And then if there's something that grows out of it, that would be a potential that you'd want to amend your ordinances in the future. It would be a basis for that. But it's strictly relevant to then the two sites we're having, because it's site-specific relief on them. Was that clear enough?
I think so.
Okay. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I was going to say, I'm going to open it up to my board mates to see if they have any questions, comments.
Correct.
Some feedback. Kara? No questions?
No questions, I like the idea.
Joel?
I think it's very curious.
Curious in a good way or a bad way?
I would go more positive.
Thank you.
I'm going to say, as somebody who wanted to cry when I had to legally take the vote for the conditional use, because I was very unhappy with tractor trailers that were supporting the retail going through that residential community. Because I think I'm so happy to see the split driveway and the efficiency of tractor trailers being able to support the retail that is there. And also with the safety, I don't have to worry about kids running through the street or anything like that. So I'm very happy to definitely send you to staff. And if it requires a letter of support, to do that as well. But I don't know if that's what we're voting on.
You're not voting on that?
Yeah, go to staff.
This is just go to staff and I'll come back with more details, but that's where, what I didn't want to walk into was, there was no nod saying, hey, this seems like a good idea before. I mean, why waste everybody's time? So.
And those extra parking spaces, thank you.
There might be room for two or three more.
Who knows, but I appreciate you are, I feel hurt.
So a question
Yes,
is the road, the split road,
Yes.
does that immediately down go to the other parking lot?
Yes, so that actually,
Is that the thought?
if you go out there today, there is a gravel driveway coming in off of Sunset in approximately the same location. So this would replicate that, but bring it up to a paved condition. And so that would be the through movement, would be the movement into and out of the parking lot. And then the stop movement, unless Mr. Platt tells me otherwise, would be you coming in and out of this as the driveway into the residential.
And then going east. If I'm living in one of those townhomes and one of those homes, and I go straight down.
Right down, you'd be making a right or a left onto Sunset.
What's straight? But isn't there shopping?
That offset is the access to
Over
the
there.
shopping is much closer to the intersection.
All right, thank you.
Chris, just from a maintenance standpoint, how would the maintenance of that new through road that Gooses be maintained?
That's what we will work out with with John and his and the community. There'll be a community association, a small one for this. There'll be a shared arrangement between the two properties.
Okay, to make sure everyone understood.
And those aren't quite twins or townhouses yet. They're just boxes.
They're
until
boxes
we
to
get there.
represent a footprint. I mean, they would be classified right now as twins.
Mhm.
I did look at some quads. I looked at some other arrangements.
Mhm.
This actually, with the gas pipeline and other things, this fit well, and the twins give you a nice massing so that they can feel almost single family-esque. as you transition up Sunset, so that the length
It
of building
matches
mass,
the road.
it doesn't quite get as disconnected to the rest of the housing stock in that area.
Right? Yeah, so I say staff.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you for your time tonight.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Public comment. Yeah. Will you please take a microphone? And, yeah, thanks. I'm so sorry.
It almost made it.
Tim, on our executives, can we start noting yeah, thank you.
Preston Lutweiler, 2 Woodmont Court, which is close to school. So I just have a question about, were there 2 plans on school? One of them, the lots were a little smaller,
Yes.
and one of them, the lots were bigger.
Correct.
And I think there were flag lots
Yes.
on both.
Yes.
Why the flag lots? Were they really necessary on both of those plans?
Both of them, yes, based on the layout and the requirements of the ordinance, we have some environmentally sensitive areas in one part of the plan where there's slope and there is other areas, so to lay the property out and still get appropriate density.
Okay.
We do have, I know you live generally in that area too, we do have, just for general information, maybe we'll, can you go back to that plan for 1 second? There is a walking trail that we're connecting out to South Limerick that could potentially extend further down, but on either of the plans, what we're showing is there's an existing walking trail along school across the street. We'll connect that into our walking network, and then we have a trail net. We're going to run a trail through the open space out to the front as on South Limerick. And that would be in either one of the site plans, so that we have some proximity to that. I think the township may have some plans to extend further.
My major question was about the flag lots, because I know there've been some flag lots. Seconic's development ended up with a couple of flag lots that are coming off of Redford Road. And I see a lot of flag lots in Limerick Township.
Well,
I'm not sure it's a good thing.
In this particular plan, there would just be 2 of them, and that would avoid us trying to put lots on the road frontage out here or further. It allows us to consolidate it within the horseshoe loop of the development rather than trying to create road frontage lots in this area or over in that area. That was the point. Thank you.
Any other resident comment? Seeing none, yeah, thank you.
Thank you all. Good evening.
All right, moving on, we have a motion to accept the development timeline review extension for Lot 9 Industrial Parkway, number 26. Oh, okay, you're fine. Motion to accept the development time review extensions for Lot 9 Industrial Parkway, number 26-08.
So
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Any board comment? Any public comment? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on to new business. Joe, you'd like to?
Yeah.
Thank you. And today we're going to talk about the contract for Ridge Pike traffic signal synchronization.
Okay, so just as a way of history, back January of this year, the township received about a $308,000 grant from PennDOT under their Green Light Go project program. That was to synchronize and retime Ridge Pike from Airport Road to Sunset. We have completed the design of that. We expect PennDOT permits here shortly. So with that, we went out through the CoStars program to a qualified vendor to start getting construction pricing. And that's what's in front of you tonight. So that's step 2 of 3. Step 1 was the design. Step 2 will be to get all of that signalization up and running, get everything tied into the PennDOT central system, get all the equipment running. And then once all that's in, we'll then do the retiming. But we can't do the retiming until all the equipment works and everything's communicating. So in front of you tonight is a quote from Arbor & Sons which is the township signal maintenance provider, and the amount of $222,966. And with that approval, we'll work with them to get their appropriate contracts over for signature and get them out to start that work.
Real quick, what will the drivers notice from the synchronization?
From the synchronization under the construction.
No, once it's completed.
Yeah, so under the construction, they'll see very little. It's all in cabinet work. Once that's done, we'll be able to do a retiming. So you'll get progressions. So you won't hopefully stop at every light coming through it. There's a special focus towards the village to make sure that those are in sync right now, that they are not tied together. So there is no synchronization there. So if one's green at Limerick Road, at East Arcadia, it might be red, and then Lewis, it might be red, and then the other one might be green. So once that's all done, they'll all be tied together, and I'll be able to talk to each other and kind of make those adjustments. So that's what we're looking to do.
So people's driving experience will be better?
We hope so, yes.
Okay, great. Do I have a motion to approve the contract with Armor and Sons Incorporated at a cost to not exceed $222,966 and to authorize the township staff to execute any agreements associated with the traffic signal synchronization project along Ridge Pike?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any additional board comment? Any public comment? Please.
Rick Fiddler, Limerick resident. I just have a question on the synchronization. If the emergency vehicles like fire trucks or whatever use their electronics to get through, does that mess up the synchronization or does it reset?
It will temporarily take it out of coordination because it depends on where they turn and what they preempt. It'll be in that cycle. But within 2 cycles or 2 loops through it'll go back to recycling and get back into coordination.
Okay.
It'll have a temporary pause whenever they're doing that, and then it's back in the cycle.
Okay. I've experienced that already, and it just seems like it doesn't ever come back.
Yeah. So a lot of what happens, especially in the village, is the first truck leaves, that preempts it. 3 minutes later, the next one leaves, and then an ambulance comes through. So you're getting multiple preempts, so that it's preempting and then resetting and preempting and resetting. So you kind of got to let.
And the firehouse is right there.
Yeah, so
that's it's going to happen a lot. Right. Okay. Thank you.
Great. Any additional? Please. You're in the hot seat tonight.
Preston Lewis, 2 Woodmont Court. I love the idea of traffic light synchronization. Smart lights would make traveling easier for all of us. Are the lights that are there now spaced so that if they're synchronized in one direction, they're not unsynchronized or difficult for people traveling in the other direction? Or does the synchronization program going to figure out which is the preferred direction of traffic flow and synchronize them in that direction at one time of day and in the other direction at another time of day?
So these will be time of day programs. It'll be in the wherever the predominant movements are. If it's in the AM and they're coming eastbound or westbound, there'll be those. So it's more of a time of day of how it operates throughout the day, and then on the weekends are separate weekend programs.
So these get they get very customized.
Yes.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any additional resident comment? All right. Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Joe, real quick before you go, can you talk about the scheduling, in particular, the time constraints that PennDOT is putting us under with this grant money and their deadlines? And everything?
So this grant is typically a 3-year grant program. It was supposed to have been awarded back in November of 2025. We did not get notice until January of November 24. We didn't get notice until this year. We have until next April to get this project complete and closed out. I think we're pretty far ahead of schedule at this point, so we shouldn't have any problems there. But April, we have to have it. The final payments made. The request for reimbursement has to go into May, and they'll cut a check in June. We can do that at any time. I think right now we're ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I think we lost like 8 months out of the normal PennDOT cycle.
We lost 8 months out.
Why? Why did we miss an email?
No, so this money is tied to the state capital budget. And if we recall, last year, the state capital budget did not get passed until November. So they could not announce awards until after the capital budget. Once they knew how much money they had to go through and figure out who gets that money. We got notice the night of reorg is when we got notice that we had this. So we lost a lot of time.
Yeah, so, but I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
we're going to be good.
Schedule's good.
Right. All right. Thanks, Joe.
Yep.
Much appreciated. And then we have an approval to adding Mid-Penn Bank to the list of township depositories.
Yes. First Colonial Bank was recently purchased by Mid-Penn Bank, so we do banking, but used to First Colonial. So it's a simple motion. We just did it for Victory, who changed to QNB. So it's just a motion to add Mid-Penn to the list of approved depository for township funds.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve adding Mid-Penn Bank to the list of approved depository? I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Board comment? Public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Fire police support for the Lower Frederick Community Day.
Yeah, we received a request for support from the Limerick Township Fire Police for their event Saturday the 12th of this year. So this event is not on one of our approved listings, so it's a request that we are asking the board to approve.
Okay. Do I have a motion to authorize the use of Limerick Township Fire Police to assist the Lower Frederick Township Community Day event on Saturday, September 12th, 2026?
Second.
I have a motion, and a second. Any board comment? Any resident comment? Seeing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, I'm going to toss this over to our solicitor, Rebecca. This is on our right to know request policy.
Thank you. So as some of you may be aware, the township has received quite a few right to know requests in 2026. And as council newly to Limerick Township, we recognize that there was not an official policy in place. Our concern is we want everything to be logged timely in compliance with right to know law and make sure every request is responded to. And we realized that some emails were going to Greta, some emails were going to Dan, some were going to Board of Supervisors. They weren't necessarily labeled as right to know request. It would be, when you read through the email, sounds like a right to know request, but staff would have to determine whether or not it was actually a right to know request. And if so, where does it get forwarded? So we felt that it made sense to put the policy in place, not to make it more difficult, but to streamline everything. The policy doesn't change the way the township has been really treating it. It just must be submitted to the township. So you can still submit in person during township hours. Your right to know request can be submitted via email, and that's rtk@limerickpa.org, or it can be mailed to the township building. And again, just by way of background, when a right to know request is submitted under right to know law, the township has 5 business days to respond. So in other words, if a response or a request is received in one of these 3 ways by the township on a Saturday, it will get logged on Monday morning when staff is back in place and they can appropriately log it. If it was received at 5 o'clock on a Friday, it will get logged the following Monday. Same with the holiday when the township building is closed. So again, the idea is to make sure that the requesters understand that the policy is in place and to treat every request the same. So really, that is what we came up with. It is in your packet for review, certainly open for changes or comments. It goes through with explains the right to know officer or open records officer. And this is consistent with state law and also consistent with how our other municipalities around the county are handling.
So one of my suggestions is in the first paragraph. Okay. I would remove Daniel K. Kerr's name because he is the manager currently,
I'm the right to know.
He's also
officer.
the open records officer.
but the title is the issue. At some point, Dan will not be the open records officer, but we will always have an open records officer.
Okay, well.
Right, do
yeah.
you understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So that we don't have to remember on when you retire to come and change this, to
Mhm.
update it.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Anyway. And I also, here again, it's in a few places, both in it is the policy of Limerick Township as well as the open records officer. Unless you want to continue to do this when you're retired.
And I think it is prudent to identify the office of open records officer for the township.
Yeah.
And that's his title, or other municipalities identify. Yes, we'll have to change it at some point, sadly enough, but in the meantime, it's accurate. And legally, you'll have to reappoint somebody when Mr. Kerr retires.
Right. I think what Rebecca is referring to, if when a new manager is sitting in this seat, there's going to be multiple documents that the township's going to have to amend.
Right.
Bonds and all sorts of stuff. So this is just going to be one of those you're going to have to add to the queue and change accordingly. So
I also wanted to clarify if Mr. Kerr or Greta or myself or anybody does receive what we believe to be a right to know request, we'll respond. Sounds like a right to know request. Here's the form. So the requester will still be redirected. It's not going to sit in a vacuum.
Okay. I just have a question from my right to knows that I had done. I know that it can sometimes take up to 30 days, and it doesn't really specify on here that the only thing they talk about is a response of 5 days.
Right, so that makes sense.
I was going to say, I would like to add that we have to respond to you in 5 days, but the more, it could take up to 30 days for us to get you all of the information that you need.
Sure, we could certainly add in a provision saying under right to know law, the township can invoke 30 days for legal review, for example, or if there's a volume of documents that can't be gathered by staff within 5 days, they may invoke a 30-day extension. Again, that is consistent with right to know law, but I'm certainly, if that's the board's wish, we can certainly add that in. I see no harm legally.
Is anyone opposed to adding that in?
I think it's a good idea to add it in.
Kara? Okay. Pat, I think I saw you shake your head.
I concur.
Okay. And I'm just kind of curious, out of curiosity, what is the process of a right to know when you get one?
whole process. So it depends on the complexity of the request. A simple right to know, like someone will ask for a plot plan of their house, or a contractor will ask for a plot plan of a property so they can build that pool. The right to know, any right to know comes in and gets logged into our system. So we start a time clock on it. If we can answer within 5 days for this simple type of request, they first go into the GIS system and see if that property file has already been scanned in, and it is the information there. A lot of these requests are for the older development homes where the files are sitting in our file room and haven't been scanned in. So if it's not in GIS, then they have to physically go in and find the property file and pull it out, and then they research the property file, get the appropriate information, send it out the door. If it's not in the property file, then they got to go to the land development files where that community or whatever may have been created 20, 30 years ago, so they have to go find it there. So all that, once they compile it on a simple request like that, they get it, boom, put out the door. Generally, we can comply with those within 5 days, so long as staff has time to do it based on the queue. That is in their system. So that's a simple one. The more complex ones, we've been receiving a lot of data center ones, and they are asking for every document related to the application, every bit of communication the township has had on a particular property. Some of the requests are dating back to 2005, any information 2005 on. So they are, if you think about all the files, township files for a lot of this are rather large, so it takes a while for staff to go through all that information, file it. And on the more complex ones, they're asking for any communication, which means that we have to send them out to our consultants, our legal team, anybody else who would be involved in our circle of reviews or discussions or permitting for that particular property, whatever they're asking for. Those are taking at a minimum 2.5 weeks to pull together. Not that the staff member is working on it consistently for 2.5 weeks, but it has to go out to consultants. Everyone has to review it, it has to come in. And then when it comes in on these more complex ones, especially when there have been legal reviews, then it has to go to our solicitor's office. They have to vet everything. They have to redact everything. And we have to do that coordination. So it's taken about 2 to 2.5 weeks to get those out. Again, on a normal right to know queue that's in our system. So over that 2.5 weeks, I would say our staff time is probably 8 to 10 hours on that, just for that one right. If that's answering your question.
It is, and the only reason why I'm asking is I do have concerns because I feel like the volume is high because we're in a busy season in Limerick. How on track are we year over year on requests for right to knows? I am going somewhere with this.
You're going somewhere?
I am going somewhere with this, but I just want to know if my assumption is correct.
Last year, I think I reported we had 354
For the year?
for the year.
Okay.
The last count that I was talking to them this week, because we got another slew on it, we are at 317 to date today.
So here's where I'm going with this, and I just want to do it. I don't even know if it's possible, and I could be going against legal, so I'm looking to you here. I have concerns. The way this is written, 3:59 on Monday, and you close at 4, 3:59 on Monday, that would count as day one, but you've had no time to work on it. And you have like 4 days, so you only have 4 days left, but you have an early day on Friday. So is there a way that maybe day one stops at 1 across the board for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? And so anything that comes in at 1:30 on Monday would actually, day one would start on Tuesday. And it just gives you a little more time so that things don't get missed in that 5-day window. I don't know if there's even consequences if you miss the 5-day, but I feel like
if you miss the 5-day, it is a deemed denial. So if you miss the 5-day, day 7, a requester can appeal right away to the Office of Open Records saying that I didn't get my response within 5 days. And that's they can appeal.
Okay. So it's not a fine. It's not.
No,
Okay.
It's a deemed denial.
Okay.
And the Office of Open Records really doesn't prefer that. They prefer agencies to respond within the 5 days, but again, it happens. I mean, certain municipalities get super busy. Right to know requests get lost. It happens.
Right. I can tell you, just because they're so busy upstairs processing right to knows, I've instructed them even on the simple ones. As soon as you get them, it's a 5-day letter, we'll comply within 30. And it just takes that out of the
So
process.
then that takes that little buffer. Okay.
Right.
As long as you guys have the buffer that we're not getting ourselves into a situation where we look like we're not, all these deemed denials.
Right, I can tell you, speaking with the other attorney that works with Limerick and also the rest of our municipalities, she's been astounded at how responsive and wonderful Limerick's right to know staff is compared to other municipalities, and that's throughout Montgomery County, Bucks County, and Delaware County.
Okay.
So.
Perfect, then
Is it up
if you
Limerick?
guys are good, I'm not gonna worry about it. I just wanted to throw it out there if you wanted to change your day one time from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. All right, so just the 30-day change, is there anything else? No? Okay. So do I have a motion to approve the right to know request, adding in the comments about the 30 days?
So moved.
Second.
Any additional board comment? Any public comment? Seeing none? Oh, hi, no.
Abby Deardorff.
Oh, can you?
You
Abby
can
down.
squeeze that.
Come on, Tim.
There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Now I can say, I don't know if this is helpful or not. I'm not a solicitor, but maybe changing that language to an acknowledgement in 5 days, then a response. That may set the tone of what a requester may expect.
Yeah, I think our wording does to a degree say that, but yeah, we can look at that. Sure.
So just think you're acknowledging it within 5 days, not necessarily responding.
Right.
Thank you very much. Any additional public comment? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, and moving on to our community center pre-construction proposal. Taking that to you?
Yeah, I'll start it out. So I just want to give a little bit of history of why we're at this point. And so obviously it's been discussed by the board in our preliminary budget discussion that there's a desire to study the cost of a community center. This discussion is not new to 2026. This actually goes back several years to one of the objectives of selling the sewer authority was to build a reserve for capital projects. So when that sewer sale was completed, there was objectives built into the investment policy that the board at that time was looking at appropriate and needed capital upgrades to the township. One of the biggest objectives was to support the volunteer fire company with the needed facilities and apparatus for the next 30 years. We've achieved that. We have the 2 new buildings that can accommodate both volunteer or paid staff. They're accommodating ambulance services right now. So that objective has been met. This municipal complex was built to accommodate the township for the next 30, I think even 40 years here. There was objectives to upgrade the park. Township undertook a park master plan. We've achieved significant improvement where the new park, the new phase 1 was completed about a year or so ago. Mandarak playground upgrade was all part of that. It was all built into that. My time. All right. Yeah. So there have been trail upgrades. We've used all that money to for matching funds for many grants, for trail grants. One of the most significant is the Tullamore Trail that runs across the Pico power line across the township. And there's been other minor trail improvements. One of the biggest objectives of that sale was that the township remain debt-free. Township paid off at the time of the sewer sale a loan for Linfield Sports Park. The township bought that a few years earlier, so that was paid off. They paid off the loan for the public works facility, and we paid off all the sewer-related debts. So the objective was to be debt-free. We continue to be debt-free. Another objective in that plan was a community center. And so the new park plan, and Rick brought this up the last meeting or whenever, is that in there we got the tennis courts and the bocce courts, and we got this multi-purpose playing field, and we got a baseball field. over near the multi-purpose playing field has been established for a community center, because that's what the park master plan showed. They wanted an area where a community center could be built. We've stubbed in utilities already there, and it's flat, and that's where the engineering has all been designed. I think the stormwater accommodates it. So anyway, that's just a little history. The board back in 2019 actually started a study, and there was an agreement with Gorski Engineering that we signed. It was for the township signed for $97,000, and that was to provide a architectural study, details, and very accurate cost construction of what a community center would entail. So that was 2019. I think it was late 2019, early 2020. It was finalized, but the township, the whole study again was 97,000. We only used up 30,000 of that because we wanted just a high-level glimpse, and that's what they did. So there's a 54,000 square foot community center. We have a baseline design for it. There was a rough estimate of 7.1 million to construct that, and at the time, it didn't move forward any farther. So there was still $67,000 left in that contract, of course, that the township never spent. In 2019, I'm not saying that any one particular reason was a reason why the board stopped it, but at the time, we were facing some significant development pressures on the public property. There was developers coming in who wanted to build, I think, 12 or 1,500 homes down there, mixed use. There was the Linfield master plan study was going on. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my list here. I lost my train of thought. But there were some other things going on. Most importantly was the COVID crisis. So that really, we didn't know what future of anything was. And so that was what it take 2020, 21, 22. It was like 2023 till we all started coming out of COVID. And there was, I know what, also in 2019, 2020 is when we started to learn about the crisis with the ambulance companies. So the board wanted to look at the ambulance companies, make sure we were covered. There was, the fire companies were asking for more capital money because of the cost of, it was ambulances, it was a fire, it was COVID, it was what's going on in Linfield. And I think the board just decided to put it to the side, not for any particular reason or one or whatever. It's just how it happened. So anyway, the board now has asked for a study to do it again. So I talked to Gorski again. The 97,000 2019 proposal, that it's a similar structure. They didn't really change much from what you're going to get, but it's 114,464 to start up that study again. It's so many years since the first one that I think we got to start over. We have to talk to Park and Rec. We got to talk to the community again. We got to figure out what we really need. The 2019 study was 3 full courts, meeting space, for classrooms, activities, whatever. So that's where we are. If the board is desirous of this, and what I heard in our budget talks of a week ago, there's a desire to know the cost of this for this budget cycle, which has to be approved by the end of December. Preliminary budget has to be approved by no later than the first or second week in November. To do the full blown design, so it's ready to put the bid or whatever, and actually have a very good cost estimate is the Gorski proposal for the board. And I'll answer any questions. I hope I can recap properly.
Open the floor to questions. For Cheryl, do you have any questions?
Did I hear that there's still money left in the account with Gorski?
It's money we haven't spent. I don't know if we've rolled that over. So I think it probably just, if we didn't allocate it any further, 2022, 23, we just felt it was, it was gone. So
So you pulled it into the,
We pulled into the
general fund, so
it's not sitting there.
it's
no.
not sitting there at this point. Got it. So you're looking for this assessment to be paid for in this calendar year of 114,000 approximately. Am I understanding it right?
If the board is looking for a very accurate cost estimate to place in the 2027 budget, that number will be allocated this year. We will have to pull that into the budget, the September budget amendment that we're going to give the board ahead of your budget discussions.
And then if this proposal from Gorski is accepted, how long will it take them to complete it?
He basically said this is going to be a very fast track, very fast for them. We're going to have to meet every week, and there's going to be constant discussions, but he believes it can be done by the end of October if we start.
That dovetails into the budget discussions / decision that needs to be done by the end of November.
Correct.
I got. Thank you.
Go ahead, Matt.
Okay, just to summarize what Dan has said and to address some of the comments that are out there in the public about this data, community center. This was started by the previous board, was also approved in the park plan. So it's nothing new. It was just park.
I think it's in the 2009 comprehensive plan as well.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's not like this new board's coming and all of a sudden we're spending all this money, or we're not. This is a feasibility study to see that it warrants that we can do it. So whoever's out there saying that, oh, we're going to spend all this money, the new board's spending money, that's not the case. We're studying the feasibility and how long it will take to build it, how to finance it. It's not going to happen overnight. So I want to get to those people that like to hide behind their screen that this has already been in place. It's nothing that.
And I have a question about when they say they're going to do community surveys. That's Forsky to see what we want in there, or is it just Park and Rec?
Well,
that is going to what's the?
I talked to my Park and Rec department upstairs. We talked about getting the Park and Rec committee involved so they can help with public feedback, similar that we did for the playground.
Good.
It just has to be fast tracked.
The public to be involved in what they
Yes.
would want to
Yes.
see in a community center,
Yes.
not just in-house,
Yes.
but it's very important. We may find that in addition to Camp Shamrock, silver sneakers might be high on the list. So you just don't know. So as long as we can get a feel for the community as well. What they're looking
Yes.
for.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
So if there's no other additional board questions, do we have a motion to approve the community center pre-construction proposal with Forsky Engineering for a cost not to exceed $114,464?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any additional board comments?
Item 4 of community center. Part of the assessment. I'm going to be voting no for this debt this year. Adding more to the calendar, 2026, 2027. The fees and costs for the conditional use hearings in the next budget year is taxing enough. And I think this is not something that is absolutely positively necessary. I agree with you. It is a feasibility study. It is important that we do it. The other motion that we made, I just don't feel it has to be done right now. I would absolutely positively say yes, it was 27 going into 28, because we're just capped, and it's. I can't say this.
Well, I would like to rebut that because no one said we're gonna do it this year.
No, yes,
No, we didn't. We said we're gonna do a study. We're not building this thing this year or the next 2 years.
what it'll take to get this done.
I just like the way you guys have flipped your decision on the data center all of a sudden. Not the data center, the community
I
center.
was very clear, and I'm not saying not 26, 27. I said, I would say yes to 27, 28.
And I agree with that. I'm just trying to put out there that no one said we're gonna do this year.
I don't, that's not what she's saying. That's not what she said.
That's the word in the community.
No, I'm speaking right now. This is what I'm saying and why I'm doing it. I'm not talking about the community. I'm not talking on behalf of the community right now. And I understand it's not being built right. I get that. I understand what this money actually is allocated.
President comment?
Abby Theodore Flimmer. I just wanted to ask a clarifying question about the objectives. I guess when during the sewer sale, you said it was 2019 that those objectives were part of that sale. Is that accurate?
Actually, the objectives that came out, the capital program for the township that we put together, actually were finalized in 2016 when the board decided to sell the sewer at that time.
So it's part of the planning for that, process.
Why it was done, right.
And is that document available through the website to find those?
It's, I don't know if it's on the website anymore. There was a lot of information back then, but I'm sure we could find it that listed, that there was a whole.
I was just curious if people wanted to,
Sure.
See that information, to see what those objectives were, because it sounds like all of them have been kind of checked off the box, except for that one. Mm-hmm. And my other question was there finances allocated to each of those objectives? Yeah. So like it said, oh, we're going to do these 5, we got this much money. We haven't talked about this in 6 years. Is that money still in the fund? It doesn't sound like it is.
Yeah, well, let me explain that. Like there was a list of capital projects, so we guesstimated each one, this building, the fire companies and all that. So we were pretty close until obviously inflation. But the way the investment policy works, which guides the investments of the sewer money. So there's 2 parts. When the township sold the sewer and we paid off all the debt, and after all that, we deposited into our accounts, into an investment account, $57 million. The board said under no circumstances will that fund ever go below $57 million. It is an informal policy that I and my team have followed. You can't put a policy in place that further restricts future boards, so it's just a guide that we want. Over the year, the board, the investment policy in general, states that the interest money on that fund is to be used to offset any increase in real estate taxes. So we do our budgeting and we pull the interest earnings into the general fund every year since then, and we've been pulling in roughly $1.2 to $1.4 million, which equates to about 26-30% tax rate that we don't need taxes for. So that's the primary use of the tax money, or of the interest money. Any additional interest earnings or rise in investment above the 57 million can be used, allocated by the board for capital programs. So right now, those investments are floating about $61-62 million. So under the investment policy, the board has the ability to utilize the general policy from 57 to 62 million, as well as interest earnings that may be there over the course of the 8 years since the sewer fund, if you allocate that we've been running about $2 million or so of interest earnings every year, you add that up, that's what we've been using for a lot of these capital projects, in addition to supporting the offset of real estate taxes. I hope I'm explaining that correctly. The investment policy further states that any use of the sewer fund monies has to be appropriated by the board during the annual budget process, so it's a public discussion. So, so if there were any capital programs, like when we did the Mandrack Playground, we pulled $2 million out. That was all appropriated in the annual budget. So that's a guiding principle as well of the investment policy. I hope I answered your question.
Am I allowed to speak more time? Is that policy public facing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then I just wanted, my last thing was just to clarify the conversation between Mr. Morani and Ms. Schuler. My interpretation was that she supports moving forward with this project, but not doing the spend of $114,000 in this budget year because of all the extra conditional use hearings and the cost that comes along with that, with all the other projects. So what I heard from you is that you do support the goal that was established in 2016, just not in this budget year because of all the extra expenses. Is that accurate?
That and the tasks.
For staff as well. That's all, thank you. Please.
Preston Leweller to Woodmont Court again. Before my wife and I actually moved into this community, we started coming to Limerick Township meetings back when you were meeting in the old building on South Limerick Road, which was rented because they were building this building. And that was probably about 2016, 2017. In one of the meetings, they went over the comprehensive plan and the plan for the community park. And I remember at the time them talking about the community center. Again, that's 2016, 2017. Since then, Upper Providence has built a community center. You've had the Y built. And I just have a feeling that maybe there's been so many changes in the community. We've grown, the population has grown, population has changed demographically. That maybe we're in a little different place than we were in 2019 when Gorski came up with their original plan. So I think it's probably an important time to make sure that this is exactly what the community really wants in terms of community center, and talk to the people in Upper Providence about the finances and the use of their community center. It's a beautiful community center, but again, it's something maybe we can share, or maybe we want to build something a little different than what they built. I don't know, but suggest that maybe there's an opportunity for more communication with the community about what they really want, and thought about what this thing should be, rather than taking a plan off the shelf from 9 years ago and getting to construction plans.
Any additional public comment? Seeing none, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on. Your next one?
Yeah, so the next one is a related topic. What we did not get to in 2019 because we just had more time. The time frame wasn't as much pressure to get it done immediately, but is the business side of the study, which is projection of what is built, the annual costs to operate, the heat, insurance, electricity, staffing, maintenance, and figure all that out against the revenue that the community center can generate. So That proposal is I have a proposal from PFM, that's Public Finance Management. They are experts at investment. They have our sewer monies invested. They do these studies for many municipalities specific to a community center. They were the financial analysts for the Derry Township, which is Hershey. If anybody's ever seen that Hershey Community Center that they built, and also Macungie Township, two very nice community centers, but they were the business side analysis of those projects. So their proposal is $20,000 to $25,000. The motion before the board is for a agreement with PFM not to exceed $25,000. And their study has to run concurrently with the Gorski now. So they're going to be involved with all the discussions and all the other stuff.
So this will be the company that really gets into the nitty gritty of the community's need, that would facilitate the funds with the goal to see how close to net neutral this project can be.
Right. Just as an example, they will take the information that is obtained from the public outreach, such as Park and Rec Committee will reach out to our sport leagues. We have received inquiries for years from Springport Youth Leagues, from the CYO, who's looking for space for basketball, volleyball, anything else that can happen indoors in those courts that would be built. So the Park and Rec Committee would reach out, gauge their interest. They would bring that interest, level of interest, how many teams, how often do they want to rent back to PFM, and they would put together a market analysis against the costs of the operation as to what the cost of a court should be, and based on the interest of whoever, CYO or the youth league.
Well, this also works similarly to, or not this, but as part of the plan, you know, at one point in time, we were able to rent the hall at the firehouses. It's very hard to get rental space for rooms for parties and stuff. Is that all the kind of information that they're going to be pulling from?
Yes.
No, because I know the big one is, you know, Camp Shamrock, and, you know, where is it going to be housed in the near future, you know, in the near future. But there's all these other things that seem to be a community request, like, I don't know, who rents it, who rents party space, who, you know, does that kind of stuff. Is that all?
All that would come in as far as the interest out there, like who would want to lease the facilities. And based on that, we would sit with Gorski and PFM and say, okay, so maybe courts are courts. You know how the size of them, but the other meeting space, should it be a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, based on whoever wants to rent? And then based on what it's going to cost to build, they do all the business analysis of rental per square footage and all that, as far as what the township needs to get a return on our investment. So as I've said at a recent meeting, in my talk with many municipal managers who have community centers, they can pretty much break even, again, based on what is offered, square footage and all that. They can pretty much break even on year to year expenses versus revenues. What is the burden that would come to the township general fund would be the cost of financing. Generally, municipalities are not able to cover enough costs to cover the finance. That is just general information that we managers all talk about, and so I'm just offering that based on.
Good, so they will be showing us warning signs, causes of concern, scenarios and stuff. This report will not be flowers and rainbows.
No.
And this is
exactly,
this will be really, okay.
Yeah.
And will they show us conservative, like with the worst case scenario, best scenario, this is if everything's powering at 100, will we kind of be able to see this is where we can be when everything's firing great? And this is also the reality if, you know, 3 leagues walk away.
Well, I can tell you, my my strategy with the annual budget that we put together has always been, we're going to give the board conservative revenues. So when things look great, I look great. So
And you'll ask that
so,
kind
but
of same.
we will not
Yes,
overinflate revenue. So we go, oh, what happened in 3 years? We are going to keep it on the low side, and we're going to give you a very clear picture. And my guess is it's going to come back about 70 to 80% of annual operating revenue will be covered because of our conservative approach, and hoping that we can get to a break-even point based on what I hear through management.
And does the report actually show different financing scenario, debt services?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, that'll be built in there, also financing, whether you want to do 10, 20, 15 year out or whatever. Yes.
So really, there's not going to be any additional information we're going to have to go and find after this.
No,
is done.
no, it'll be a
So we
complete
can,
study.
between these two reports, we can make the best educated decision at that moment in time, and then either move forward or put it to bed.
Right. Yeah. And just as an example, I'm just going to throw this out. I just was talking to Angela because we finished up our camp program and we're kind of cleaning up expenses and all that. Our 7 weeks at the school for the Shamrock, there's 2 Shamrock camps. We are probably, and it runs, this year's been really good, but we're going to clear expenses. We're going to clear revenue over expenses of about $150,000
In the 7 weeks.
in the 7 weeks. And that's a very affordable camp program.
Mm-hmm. It is,
And
which I appreciate.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they do the specialty camps. All that is a leasing of our space. And they're going to clear $28,000. And all we're doing is giving them a little room or field here and there. So,
okay.
So there definitely is profit out there. But again, I don't want to sit here and tell you we're going to make money at it. The financing is going to be a tough pull.
And on Camp Shamrock, do you know how many we serve? Our Limerick, how many Limerick residents we're serving through Camp Shamrock? Like percentage wise, resident versus non-resident. Do you have a rough?
So I'm going off memory, but I think I was looking at the spreadsheet for the camp, those who signed up for all 7 weeks, it was like 228, I think 135 are Limerick residents, or whatever.
Okay. I think we're still on board comment yet. So, or board discussion, 1 minute.
Just going with your percentages. Hold on. Okay, so Key FM, have we used them before?
Yes. Yes.
And they understand the time frame on when we will need their financial analysis to actually make this a part of our discussion. And they will be working with, you said Parks and Rec, also Glenn, or other folks within.
They're going to be part of the meetings ongoing as we need them. Once we have scale and construction costs, I got to start building that into all the information flowing into the Park and Rec committee, who's out there trying to get community feedback on what's desired. All the youth groups, the CYOs, anybody else who would want to rent this facility. I will tell you, just back in 2019, there was an objective that the board wanted to make sure that there was court time, that residents could walk in without any charge and just play basketball at some time during the week. So that'll be discussed whether that is still desired, but they wanted the residents to be able to have open time, whatever they call it, where since they're, the residents could walk in and have a pickup basketball game, stuff like that. So that'll all be discussed.
Now I know a lot of times these projects can be built with grants. It's also my understanding that these first 2 items kind of need to be in hand before we can pursue that type of scenario. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So if once these 2 components are together and it looks like it's something that we want to, do we have to say we want to move forward with this, or can we at that point say, let's go see what kind of grants are out there for these and then we can make decisions. How does that, like, what's the steppage in that process?
It's, the board will have a complete package for you to consider at the end of the year. If you want to move forward with it, you will decide that when you approve the annual budget. If you say we want to hold off and see if there's grant money or any other ways to offset the construction costs or whatever, then that's a board prerogative.
Okay.
These two studies are in no way obligating the board to actually build the facility, if that's what you're asking.
No, but, well, there is, I think that I understood that, but I'm glad you put that out there. Just because we're doing the studies doesn't mean that we're building this. But what I mean is, say we look at this and decide that this isn't something that we want to take on in the 2027 budget. Are we then able, in the meantime, to take this plan and start looking for grants?
Yes.
Even though it's not in our 2027 budget, that's not going to stop us from going to see what's out there, to see exactly how much of this we can get kind of covered, and then making an amendment mid-year if something comes through for.
It's not precluding the board from doing any of those. I just wanted to make sure everyone is realistic that the standard state grants that are available to municipalities for park, road improvements, trails, community plans, master plans. There's not, generally they don't finance municipal facilities. So I don't want the board to think that there's this pot of money that townships go after to build community centers. There are, but I don't think that our demographic would meet where the state puts those monies into areas that may have more of a need than Limerick. So a lot of cities and towns would probably qualify more than Limerick for those type of funds, but again, they're very few and far between. Yeah.
So there are two major concerns I have seen in Limerick over the last year or so. With Camp Shamrock, how quickly did it sell out in spaces this year?
An hour and a half, maybe.
An hour and a half.
Yeah, it was quick. I don't want to say it's that, but it was in the first day. I think it was pretty well filled up. Yeah, they have a significant wait list. I will tell you that. I can bring Angela in sometime to really talk in detail about that. But I know they had well over 30 children in a wait list within our system that they logged in, because people said, put us on the wait list, and others were like, oh, don't even bother. But there's a significant wait list for our camp.
Which concerns me, because Camp Shamrock is one of the most affordable camp programs. Does Camp Shamrock also provide programming during school holidays?
Not Camp Shamrock, but we will have, name a holiday the school may be off. They'll do an offering here for 30 kids or something like that for parents who, just a day camp for a day the school may be off, things like that. But it's not officially Camp Shamrock.
And then, I'm sorry, the other thing I've heard the community say is they want some of our public hearings to be in a larger space. I don't know that was in the original plan in 2016 that would have large hearings that a good portion of the community wanted to come out and see. Would this building be able to house those large hearings?
It can if it's designed properly.
I'm done with question for the time being.
And for this year's budget, what is the general impact of these two studies going to put on this year's budget? I know Glenn is not here.
No, I will be able to tell you better in September once once we give you the budget update, the
Okay.
2026 budget update ahead of our budget discussions. Again, we're going to reset everything where we are in the course of the year, so we have realistic numbers.
So is that one of our first meetings in September?
Yep.
So if we have approvals for these two things this evening,
Mhm.
does that mean that you're starting them tomorrow, or does that mean you're gonna start them after we look at the budget in September? But this is just the formality of it.
If you approve it tonight, well, you already approved the Gorski contract, so in my mind, I'm calling them tomorrow and I'm telling them we got to get started because he told me normally these studies, his study would take more than just 2 months. So he'll get it done, but we got to start like immediately. So if there's a delay until this is talked about in September, I'm not sure I or the Gorski or all of us can guarantee that we're going to have you a firm number by
For the end of the
for the
budget
end of the
season.
budget session where you will. So,
Yeah, for 2027 budget.
Right.
Okay. Any other board discussion? No? Resident comments? No? Okay. Do we have a motion? I lost the paperwork.
I will move to approve the public financial management not to exceed 25,000.
Board resident comment?
Well, I'm in favor of PFM. I think they're very competent and I would support them wholeheartedly. We're tapping on the same group of people for their wants and needs as they're going to be done during the comp plan study, which is also an expense. I don't understand why we don't gather the information by going through the comp plan study that you voted for, and then take that information and move to this project. You're almost double dipping, and it just doesn't seem logical to me. So that's my comment with my nay on your motion.
All right, have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
We just, Camp Shamrock seems to be a point of dire concern of where it lives in 2 years, so.
Especially gonna expand it into.
Okay. So we're moving on to the schoolhouse Limrock. Welcome. Thank you for your patience. I know there was a lot this evening. Just want to take a moment to introduce Officer Matt Daywall. Sergeant, I'm sorry.
Much better than.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you.
Tim.
so this is being recorded.
Yes.
Do we want to have your faces as a part of this presentation?
I'm just sitting here as a figurehead. I'm not involved.
And then we also have our new Chief Roche here as well. So the reason why we're here tonight is we were going through some ordinances, and a few residents had reached out to me and discussed e-bikes. And we discovered that it is quite the topic. And we figured before we went and wrote an ordinance, we would do a presentation on it, learn more about it. I would like to get this captured for future social media, because I think parents need to have access to the information about this. So with that being said, Tim, is it better if, to what Cheryl was saying, is it better if we turn him around so that he's seen, or are you going to focus on what's up there?
I think the presentation is what's.
Perfect, there we go.
Sergeant Daywall's shot.
And we can link the justice presentation
Okay, so we'll make sure before they leave, like maybe we get a good picture, or I'll take a couple pictures while they're doing it.
We could do that.
And we can do something like that, so. Okay, look, everyone's taking your pictures.
We can have that as a
I
backdrop.
think he's gonna stay focused on that screen up there.
Connie,
Yeah.
we could have that as a backdrop for your photo. That'd be.
Oh, yeah, I think that's what they're doing. All right. I think they want you to move to the side of the table. So just over to the side. Yeah.
The worst thing is the video will be so horrible that it can't be used.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be fantastic. But yes, so welcome and thank you. I'll give you the floor.
I appreciate the invitation to come out here tonight, explain.
You're gonna have that. Yeah. There you go.
This newer mobility trend. Micro-mobility provides for an efficient method of transportation. Navigating the difference in vehicle class, though, becomes difficult. It's where all the questions come in that we're talking about. Tonight, we're just going to offer a quick overview of micro-mobility because there's so many different methods and types and its impact here in Limerick. Just to introduce myself, I've been a police officer since June of 2001. I've created the department's field training program here in Limerick Township. I've been recognized as a crash reconstruction expert. And most importantly, I'm dad to two wonderful kids who share the roads with everybody else. The U.S. Department of Energy had estimated that over 2 million of these vehicles, these e-bikes, would be sold in 2025 alone. And if you think about that, that's a pretty significant addition to our transportation system. So what is micro-mobility? If you're not sure of it, you got to check Wiki, right? Everybody checks Wikipedia. But what micro-mobility refers to is any low-speed human or electronic-powered vehicles. So it sounds great, but where would the problem be? Well, as these vehicles, as the usage of these vehicles increases, so would it crashes and injuries with it as well. The user's unfamiliarity with the vehicle and its operation can create issues on the roadway. Just an overview related to e-bike crashes. Stuff. This might be where I need crash.
Is there a play button like on the screen?
Or just click on the. No, I didn't. But it could be anytime. We're just down there down.
What, how do you explain it?
So it would just hit a space bar when I was using it. Sorry, we didn't do a test run. Just skip it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just. We're not saying play button.
Can you enable content? Does it answer that?
What if you right click?
I learned, I heard you.
I can share that with the board and for publishing later on. This was just an overview with law enforcement officials in Florida and some medical providers in an emergency room down there as well. Basically, what it's going to tell us that what we already know, these vehicles travel faster than a normal bicycle. With that being said, injuries are going to be more significant. The American College of Surgeons put that out recently. These injuries are also occurring exponentially. And at the bottom, you can see there that it jumped almost double over a few years in Pennsylvania alone. But what that doesn't show is the fact that because these vehicles are classified in so many different ways, and the fact that sometimes people will have a crash or something at home and they don't want to report it, these numbers are way down. It's way below where these injuries and these crashes actually are. So the device themselves is not the only issue. The batteries bring with it their own set of issues. Here's this video is a short media clip from more local. This is Bristol in Bucks County, and this was just from last month, where an e-bike was charging in the home, and while it was charging, it caused a fire. There were injuries related to it, fire damage to the home. What is interesting to me as a police and fire investigator is that the owner of this said that they recently replaced the battery. So if you're not using the manufacturer's battery or what they recommend to be used, there's an increased chance that there may be a fire or injuries related to it. And unfortunately, it's what's the saying? If it's on the internet, it must be true. So not everything that we look at is an e-bike. It's we'll see here, right, a page from a manufacturer. Under the banner of being an e-bike, we can see electric bike on the left, but you have to read closer on the other ones, electric motorbike. It's not the same thing. It's way more powerful, way more dangerous for our kids. The ability to have a 3,000 watt motor, that's 4 times what the state of Pennsylvania says is allowable on an e-bike. It can do double the speed limit of what Pennsylvania allows. It's heavier than what Pennsylvania allows. This right here is what is permissible as an e-bike in Pennsylvania. It needs to weigh less than 100 pounds. It can't have a motor more powerful than 750 watts. And it can't be capable of going faster than 20 miles an hour on a level roadway without pedaling. Also in Pennsylvania, and this is the thing, parents, also in Pennsylvania, e-bikes have a minimum age of 16 years old to operate. So I know you're being asked and you're being, begged to purchase these items for your children. It's just not safe. These are what legal e-bike looks like in the state of Pennsylvania. Can't go faster than the 20 miles an hour, under the 750 watt motor, and less than 100 pounds. So these are some of the tricks that are played. This is right on that same manufacturer's website. I'm sorry, this is another video. That's not right, but this is right on the same manufacturer's website. They know the rules. They skirt the laws. It actually has. It shows how they have what looks to be pedals on the bike, and it shows a cop and it says, "Well, this won't bother you, right?" Because it looks like it's legal, but it's not. And they also tell you how fast it can go and how exciting it is. And I'm sure after you see this, you go and you tell your parent you want to get it.
There's 3 reasons why you need a GT73 Pro. Well, for starters, look at it. It's a super sporty, awesome looking e-bike. Number 2, look, it has pedals on it, so you have less of a chance of getting stopped when you're cruising around town. Number 3, this thing claims 50 miles per hour, which for an e-bike is insanely fast. Also, it gets 87 miles of range. You kind of got to respect that. For an e-bike, I would say this is a pretty cool one. Come check it out.
So just what we're saying, the manufacturers and the guys that want you to buy these, they're marketing to you. They're trying to get them to go to their parents and get these, and guardians to get these vehicles. Not a true e-bike, by the way. Pennsylvania did come up with a micromobility fact sheet to help parents out. If you look down along the left column, the majority of these bikes require to be 16 or older to operate and use. The only things that aren't is a bicycle, which anybody can use, the Segway, and the electric scooter. But the electric scooter has its own issues, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Where can you ride in Pennsylvania? Those over 16, what we said, can operate on roadways, but they must comply with the the vehicle code of Pennsylvania. Sidewalks and bicycle paths kind of get tricky. You could operate an e-bike on a sidewalk unless it's designated as an urban district, or unless there's local laws and ordinances, and that's maybe some of the questions that have come up that govern that activity in that municipality. Of course, if you are on the sidewalk or on the path, you must yield to pedestrians. And as I said, the operator must follow the rules of the road, obeying traffic control device, stop signs, red lights. And in Pennsylvania, you also have to signal your movements and your turns, and avoid distracted driving. Montgomery County enacted their own policy, setting a speed limit on county-owned trails at 15 miles an hour. So e-scooters, these things, and I know we see them all over the place and in the roadway. E-scooters actually can't be operated anywhere outside of private property with permission of the owner, just because of its classification in the state currently. There is no minimum, get this, there's no minimum age to operate, but it just can't be out anywhere outside of public property. Anywhere outside of private. Just as a reminder, helmets are required for anybody on a bicycle, passenger, operator, whatnot, when you're under 12 years old. The American Academy of Pediatrics has put out that your standard bicycle helmet is not sufficient to protect you on an e-bike. The speeds are greater. We have higher weights of these vehicles. It's just not sufficient for you on an e-bike. What the vehicle code does say is that parents and guardians can be held responsible for knowingly permitting a violation involving one of these vehicles. Obviously, this is what we want to avoid. There was a child, a 17-year-old in Lancaster County last school year who collided right around going back to school. I think it was early September. He was killed when he collided with a vehicle. We're not immune. Here's several significant Montgomery County incidents that have occurred within the past few years involving e-bikes. Some engineering strategies that we might come up with could include local legislation, the bike lanes that we see along Ridge Pike, those kinds of things. What we want to do educational-wise, just efforts like we've come and done these community engagement things like tonight. Limerick Police have come up with a pamphlet for parents and riders and whoever wants information. As far as enforcement goes, we do, as a police department here in Limerick Township, we do want to promote an environment of safety for all users of the transportation system. That being said, we do have some expectations of the public. Obviously, depending upon the behavior that was observed, it is very likely in Limerick Township that a first encounter would be treated as somewhat of an educational opportunity. That changes though when somebody wants to run off or potentially gets themselves hurt or somebody else, and then it very likely could lead to an arrest. And that's not how we want to. That's not how we want things to go. So what else can be done here? We do have a similar program to this prepared for the community. We actually had it scheduled once, but with partnering with Upper Providence, but those dates fell through. So we do have a program that's ready to go. We'd like to partner with area businesses to potentially reward safe behaviors that we observe, and we would like to do that. And AAA published a report last month that I just got about 2 weeks ago. It's about 150 pages, offering guidance to local government that I would like to share with the board at some point. Just a list of resources that were used. I had some videos in here and used some material. I'm not getting paid for it. And I just wanted to thank the board and the community in attendance and those administrative officials that we have here for the township for their time, because I know it's been a long day. Is there any questions that anyone might have? No.
I do have a question about the helmets. What are they recommending for the e-scooters?
So I would, they didn't, it's not clear, but I would say that it's probably just like a motorcycle helmet. Something that is Department of Transportation approved, or SHUI or something like that.
Anyone else have additional questions or comments? No.
Well, that was good.
I really appreciate you coming out. Where can parents pick up that pamphlet if they need to explain to their child why they can't go buy that bike where the pedals do not move?
So I did put a few of these out in the lobby, but I'm always able to meet and talk with anybody, and I'm available at the police department.
And
so
what?
We'll have them at our community events. We'll be at the Tricentennial in a month or so. So we'll have them on the table there, and always willing and available to meet with the community.
Great, thank you so much. One final one. If you are on an e-bike and it is going 30 miles an hour, should it be on the sidewalk?
No. So yeah, that's way so again, technically that's not an e-bike, right?
Right.
So
I didn't call it anything. I just said you were on the sidewalk doing like 30 miles an hour.
Right. Yeah. So it should not be going over 20 if it is a true e-bike. But yes, like we've seen with the manufacturers, they tell you it's an e-bike, but basically it's an electric dirt bike, right? The wheels are, the tires are thicker. It's capable of doing a lot of other things. But we market it, advertise it as an e-bike.
Right. Well, definitely we'll take the information that you have to the board for that you had brought up, so or we can invite you back to do that at another time. So
excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thanks. Thank you. Oh, do we have any resident comments for them before we?
Yes.
Do you mind going up to the microphone, please? You thought you were off the hook. You're not. I forgot.
I was trying to see out here, Thanks.
Should they be going with traffic on the road sides?
So yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. Yeah, so while complying with those traffic laws, you would be going with the flow of traffic on the right side of the road.
This is uncanny because I was going to the Y today and there was
Why don't you have a seat? Because yeah,
a youngster on Royersford Road coming on an e-scooter in the middle of the road in my direction, the same lane as me. I had physically stopped my vehicle because I didn't know where he was going, but he just kept going in my lane, coming right at me. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
This was alarming.
So again, the e-scooters shouldn't be on the road at all.
Right.
Not only is it unsafe, but it's unlawful. And we do have those same issues elsewhere in the township, and we've responded to that as well. I know I only had a little bit of time here, but sometimes you have the group and the peer pressure, and we've had groups in certain shopping centers within the township that are actually harassing people. They actually harassed the grandmother a few months ago.
There's issues in Limerick Senate. The Limerick Senate.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know all those kids and it's terrifying. My son is one of them. He'd be mortified that I'd be up here talking about it, but I really appreciate as a parent, and also, as someone involved with the school, you guys putting this information together and making it readily available. I know you guys always, between Upper Providence and Royersford and Spring City, and I know you guys and the school district police, I know you guys always work really well together in sharing information. I know with writing the ordinances about it, I would love to see kind of like a regional approach so that what Boyertown is doing is what Limerick is doing, is what Upper Providence is doing, because there's kids riding from Boyertown to Providence Town Center that are 12. And so just having that consistency, I think would be really helpful as far as enforcement, but really appreciate the board taking the time to address this, and you guys, I know it's difficult to police.
It's difficult, and we're not the fun place, right? No. We don't want to impede on kids having a good time and enjoying their summer. But at the same time, like in my bio, I'm the crash reconstructionist. So when I go out, the crash is bad. I don't like to do that, right? I'm knocking on somebody's door with bad news, and I don't, that's not something we like to do. We'd like to keep the community safe. We'd like to find a way for the teens to enjoy what they're doing, or the 12-year-olds to enjoy what they're doing, but just do it safely.
And it takes all of us together. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Again, thank you very much. All right. Moving on to our manager's report.
Just a reminder that Monday, the 24th, Township Line Road is getting shut down by PennDOT. So our crews are all ready for the detour. I'm just going to put this out, and I'm going to respond to this request against Bradford Woods to open up the emergency access. I just want to remind residents that emergency accesses are not designed for everyday vehicle traffic, and that we cannot open that up. So I just want to remind everybody that it will be responding to them, because we've got some requests to open that up in light of the detour. But the last thing is just the comprehensive plan. We are meeting with the consultant in-house, I think the first week of September, to start to plan everything out. We will have, beginning tomorrow, the comprehensive plan steering committee volunteer application will be here in the township. We're going to post it online. So we're going to have a discussion with the board in a meeting or two. We have that coming. You're going to have to decide the structure of that committee.
There's some up here.
Where?
I'm going to leave them right up here. If anyone in the room wants to grab them.
Freda and Kate, our office, did a great job putting it together. So that's it. I'm done.
Kate did a great job putting it together.
Yeah.
She really put a lot of work into it.
Perfect.
Thank you, Kate. And isn't there one more thing?
The 26th, September 26th is Pass the Brochin. Thank you for that. I do want to thank the entire township team for the great job they did at Community Day Saturday. All departments everywhere, volunteers. It was quite an effort. But yeah, everything's is coming together with that group for a big fireworks celebration on September 26th. Nothing really other than we're putting ads out. You're gonna see little flyers in businesses. They're gonna be going out real soon. We had a great sale of the apparel. We did a 50%, 50 days out, 50% sale. Moved very quickly. So, coming together.
Are there still t-shirts and sweatshirts available?
Mhm.
They're at full price.
Right now, or I think we're going to do another sale coming up.
I recommend a buy one, get one free, so you don't leave me selling merchandise with no quarters.
Stay tuned, they're thinking of something.
Perfect. And do we have any public comment for this evening? I guess there or over there?
Rick Fiddler, Limerick resident. I want to go back to Dan's history that he gave on the community center, but I don't want to talk then because this isn't about the community center. It's about the history of capital projects. A good number of years ago, probably 10 or more, I sat on a committee here developing a park plan for the Carrillo Park and the Schuylkill River Park. The Carrillo Park got completed. It's a beautiful park up on North Limerick Road. Schuylkill River Park on Longview Road seems to have been forgotten. And I'm wondering if anything is being thought, if anything has come up, if anything is going to happen. It's a beautiful property that at the time was pretty much littered with a lot of trash. I don't know if it ever got cleaned up, but the plan for that park was beautiful. And I don't know that anything has ever become of it. And I'm just asking if there's any thought to it, if it's been forgotten about or where it stands.
I can talk in general terms, is that it hasn't been forgotten, but in order to improve that park, the thought process was that we need to do something first with the toll property to create a parking lot which would loop around there. So there's a plan, the township's desire, what we've mapped out is a toll property. There could be a little parking lot there. You could come out, there would be a trail that would go down along the river, go down the Schuylkill River Park, come up under the underpass, come over the Linfield Sports Park, it'd be a trail network all the way back to the toll property. The issue that we have with that is crossing the railroad crossing on Longview Road. So back, I need to bring the public property up. I know it's taboo right now. Back when the developer was talking about either the residential homes on the public or the warehouse project prior to the data center, where they brought in the data center, they were agreeable to rebuilding that railroad overpass, right, Joe, with a pedestrian crossing for us. We would have gotten that, we could have done that whole loop. But right now, the Schuylkill River Park is kind of isolated. There's no parking for it if we were to do anything unless we do these other improvements. So there is a long a vision plan for that. And the developer of the public or property was going to do that great first step and give us a link to all that with some other trail networks when he completed.
Did it ever get cleaned up of all the trash?
Say that again?
Did it ever get cleaned up from all of the trash that was dumped there?
What trash? Where? Yeah.
Well, under the railroad overpass, a lot of people back in the day used to dump tires, refrigerators.
Oh, you're talking about the Schuylkill River Park?
Schuylkill River Park, yeah.
Yeah, our guys are down there. They clean it up. They try and monitor it. There's actually an easement. The golf course has an easement because they have an irrigation line that they pull water out from down there. So I know they're down there. They monitor it. But,
okay.
Yeah, I can't speak for current condition. I know they're down there.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other public comment? Seeing none. Supervisor comment? Seeing none. All right. Do we have I was going to say a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Greta.